Thriving.
Thriving.
Yeah.
Thriving and surviving. Well, what a week. It'll be a great week. It's a little easier coming off the win on Saturday, but I don't look at it like some people where you're supposed to win your home games and you're at Michigan State, you're supposed to win games. So looking at the film, I was pleased by doing the things we needed to do to win, which was not only make shots, but excuse me, but I think get a lot of play from a lot of guys. We had a lot of guys in double figures or close. Been a lot of effort-related things, and we made some shots, which is key. We got a break going a little bit, but unbelievable week going into Michigan. We got them tomorrow, of course, and then Ohio State and Maryland. And you already seen where Ohio State and Maryland are. Everybody kind of wrote Maryland off, and they're good. So it's going to be an incredible week, but on to what the real chore is, and that's playing Michigan down there. As you know, last couple of weeks it's been a little bit tougher going for them as far as all the outside noise, but I think, as I said to people, I don't wish anything on anybody anymore after what I've been through here. And so I think Michigan has done a great job of bouncing back from the Wisconsin loss, beating a very good Rutgers team at home, and that was without Diabate, and now they lost a tough one to Illinois, kind of the same way we lost to Illinois. So Phil Martelli, who's taken over, with he's got a lot of experience, and Saudi Washington, of course, has been there for a long time too. So they got some guys on the staff that have been there, and just like here, if tomorrow I wasn't here, I'm sure it'll keep moving on, and that's not downplaying my worth or Juwan's. It just means that they've got a veteran team now because it's played a whole season together, and I think after going through a couple tough losses in Illinois, Wisconsin, Ohio State, they got some big wins in Rutgers, Purdue, and so have we. So it's another challenge for us. Dickinson's just seems like another one of those great post players in this league. He presents different problems than the last two we played. Just as big in some ways, but a way better offensive weapon as far as a guy that can shoot it on the perimeter or inside. Diabate has, I think, improved from the first time we've played him. The kid, the Williams kid, I think the point guard has definitely improved and is playing better. He's rebounding the ball. I mean, he's getting 7.5 rebounds a game as a point guard in the last 5-6 games. And yet you put all those guys together, and I still think the straw that stirs the drink is Brooks. And he's been there forever. Love him as a player. Plays 38 minutes a game. In the last 5 games, he can beat you with a 3. He's a tremendous defender, and he has a tremendous, to me, basketball IQ. So it's a very good team. It's a very talented team that has gone through the same thing as the rest of the league, and the rest of the country has gone through some ups and downs, trying to find consistency, and so are we. Questions? Oh, I thought you were going to go with no questions in Michigan week. I was going to kiss everybody and leave.
I remember when Juwan hired Martelli as an assistant, you thought that was a good hire. What's your history with him? And I know that you have high regard for him.
Well, Phil and I have been on some boards together. I mean, I knew him when he was at St. Joe's, the job he did there, when he almost, I think they went to an Elite Eight. They had a little guard. Nelson, who was really good. And when I got on the board with Phil, we talked about that and how he coached him. And Phil's a very principled guy. He's got great experience, but he's a good coach, a good guy, and he does it the right way. So to me, that's all three. And at one time, I think Phil's roommates was Gino Oriema and what's his name from Ohio State, Jim O'Brien. Would you like to? I thought Mariucci and I had a hell of a apartment or trailer. That place must have been something. It's probably still damaged back there, but yeah, I think you know, his staff has been there. They're solid. They've got some guys on his auxiliary staff that have been there, and I'm sure this has been hard on Juwan. Like I said, I don't wish that on anybody. I really don't. But I think Phil has done a good job and will do a good job as long as he's here.
Hey Tom, say Michigan week is a big week is an understatement, and you're going on the road, hostile environment. Are there some advantages to this kind of setup where you're going on the road, you know, in a hostile type of environment for your guys?
Yeah, I don't know if advantages is the right word. I think the next step we have to take, you know, to learn how to play well on the road. We've got 2 games in a row. We're going to be traveling the whole week. But going to Ann Arbor, you know, debated on going down the day of the game or the night before. We're going to go down tonight just because these quick turnarounds and everything. We want to make sure our guys are getting some rest too. And so I don't know if there's never an advantage, I guess, in playing on the road, but I'm looking forward to seeing how we respond playing on the road. I really am. I think we're in a good place as far as you know, where we are. Other than that Iowa game, I think we've done some things in the last couple of games where we've made some progress, but we're not happy where we are by any means, as I'm sure they're not either.
Yeah, Tom, I just want to ask you kind of your approach to this last week. I mean, your Big Ten title is not on the line, but you do have the NCAA, you know, wrapped up. I mean, what do you kind of want to see out of between now and the end of the regular season?
You know, I want to see the same thing as I want to see if the Big Ten was on the line, and if or last year, you know, I don't know what is or not on the line, but the most part I want to see is improvement in my team. You know, are we going to consistently improve in areas that we need to improve on? Shooting the ball isn't one of them because I don't think anybody's trying to miss shots, but playing with the emotion, the effort, doing a little better job. And there's things that we think we really got to improve on. You know, this now getting to the free throw line is a problem. You know, because we need to get there more because we are the best free throw shooting team in the league, and it'd be a shame not to get there and be shooting the ball so well. So that's one of them. You know, continuing to rebound better is going to be one of them, and then pick and choosing our poison on how we cover certain things and certain people. Those will be the issues we're looking forward to, not only here, but then when you have that real quick turnaround and another quick turnaround. How do we do that? Is that going to prepare us for the Big Ten tournament, hopefully for the NCAA tournament? That's the advantage you can have going into this kind of week. You can talk to your players about, hey, this is the way it'll be if you make any noise later on in either one of the tournaments. You got to learn to prepare, get ready, get rest, do whatever you got to do, but make sure you're ready to play.
You kind of mentioned about the quick turn. Michigan obviously has the quick turn from Sunday. I guess, first of all, like front end versus back end, how does that, I mean, I'd imagine the back end probably a little tougher to do, but also for you guys with the week, how do you kind of plan on mapping that out in terms of, do you go to Ohio State right from there, and kind of, how do you kind of do that quick turn on your end?
You know, we really debated what we wanted to do, you know, come back here, then fly here the next night, and then fly back after, and you know, it's midterms here. I think sometimes the higher up offices forget about those things, but we do go to school here. So we had to really change a lot of our classes. We thought the best approach to make it safest, best for our players, get the most rest. We're gonna play there. We're gonna bust down to Columbus because we looked at flying. We'd save maybe a half hour, 40 minutes by the time you bust a little run, and then bust from there to because their airport's a little bit outside of town, and then when you worry about any kind of weather issues. So we're gonna bust down there. It probably won't get us in until 3 in the morning or whatever. then just kind of play it by ear, you know, depending where we are. We're going to get up the next morning. We're going to plan on sleeping in all day. We're not like you guys. We're going to work during the day. So we're going to probably get up. I think right now scheduled for 10 o'clock, have breakfast, film sessions, walkthroughs in the hotel. They were kind enough to let us practice over there. I think that's later on in the afternoon. We'll come back at night, some more walkthroughs, and it's game day. And then we'll fly back right after the game and try to get ready for Sunday, which will not be an easy task either, because I think they're an effective team. They play a lot of guys really close. It's been a strange year for them, but all three of these games will be big games, nothing bigger than Tuesday nights, because that's not only the first one, but it's the rivalry game.
I'd imagine you also have to have a day off in there.
Now, if the NCAA wants me to take a day off,
Yeah.
handcuff me, take me in. I don't know what the plan is. I mean, yesterday we just had a short meeting. I don't know if that's considered a day off anymore. I think you got to make sure the kids get every ability to do whatever they want, whenever they want. So I don't know how that works, but I'll just say publicly, if anybody wants to arrest me for having 4 games in 8 days and not taking a day off, guilty.
Tom, over here. You first did the scout for Michigan almost 2 months ago, and you've done it 3 times now. I'm wondering how different, based on who they've evolved into and who you guys are, is the scout today than it was in early January?
It is different. I think, they got a couple players playing different at point guard, at power forward, playing a little different. Even when you look at Houston, he's had his nights where he shot the ball really well. He was really struggling early on there. So it's a little different prep. I mean, everybody throws in some wrinkles, but for the most part, it's the same players. It's they've made some adjustments. We've made some adjustments. It's one of the things that I still don't love about our scheduling. I liked it more when you played them and then you played them, and I don't like the fact that 3 of our last 4, I think we played, were first time preps late in the year. That's always more difficult. Michigan's not, but Ohio State is, Iowa was, Purdue was. So I don't know, assistants can get some time off when the season's over, but I think it's if you can't prep for your rival, then who are you going to prep for? There'll be no excuses when we're ready to play. I'm sure they are too, and we have played each other before, even though it was a long time ago. At least some of the things are similar. You can look at some of the practice tape that you did. Makes it a little easier in that respect compared to preparing for Ohio State, which is completely different.
Hey, Tom, over here on the left. What is the emotion of your team coming off of that win against Purdue, and can you use it with this being the final week of the regular season? I know you've been searching for that consistency, but does it feel like maybe you could kind of ride an upward trend through this week with all of the...
Yeah, just like a surfer, we're gonna ride that wave, Those trends are earned, they're not, can't snap your fingers and get them, they're kind of earned, and I think we have practiced well. I said when we were struggling a little bit, players haven't given up on anything, they're still practicing very well. I don't see anybody acting like, the world ended, but I also don't want to look like winning a game. I mean, we're at Michigan State, that's what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to win games. That's the way they better be thinking anyway. But I think everybody's human, and when you play better, when you shoot better, you feel better. When you defend better, you don't necessarily feel better. When you rebound better, you don't necessarily feel better. But when shots are going in, your running game's going, you win a big game, the home crowd is crazy. Yeah, that's that giant wave that you can catch, and hopefully you can ride it from LA to Hawaii, and that's kind of what you hope to do. And get some momentum, especially this day and age where everything is so mental. but it's also fool's gold if that's all you're relying on. So I'm relying on using that to say, this is what we can do, you know, here's what you did and here's why you did it. This is what we gotta duplicate if we're gonna move forward.
I guess, just to follow up, does all of that carry a little more clout with the finish line being in sight, the finish line of the regular season being in sight?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody would rather be playing their best basketball at the end of the year than the beginning of the year. And, well, one game doesn't do that, you know. But you got a chance now to put some games together, and that's what we're gonna try to do, put some games together, be better at the end of the year than maybe in the middle of the year, and see if that can propel us a little bit. I mean, everybody's had some of these ups and downs this year. What did we see the other day? The top six teams all lose. And I heard people, I talked to my buddy Seth Greenberg, and I said, that's such a big surprise. And then what we've seen all year a little bit, and I think most people would agree it's been one of those years.
Here in the back, Coach, I actually wanted to ask you about all the upsets this past weekend. Obviously, you guys played a role in that, and what does that say about maybe the level or just the climate of college basketball right now as we head into March?
Well, it says both. It says about the level, it says about the climate, it says about the parity, you know, and I think our league, man, I just keep saying it's been like 4 or 5 years now where I think top to bottom, it's been really good, you know, and it's been a couple years the top's been better. There's been a couple years the bottom's been worse, but if you look at collectively, I think top to bottom, the league has been really, really, really good. And, you know, we look at a game we lost at Penn State and then Nebraska. I don't know, anybody see the Nebraska game last night? I think Nebraska would have beat everybody in the league last night. They were that good. And there's been other teams that have gone there and lost by 1 or won by 1 or won by 2. You know, sometimes we all know that a win or a loss is a win or a loss at the end of the day. But as far as your team getting better at what you're doing, you could play and lose a game and play better than sometimes when you win a game. So for a coach, I think that it shows a lot of parity. It shows that there might not be any super team in the country, like I'll say North Carolina in 2005 or 2010, when did 9. One of those years. I guess that's a good problem to have, is forgetting which year you were in a Final Four. But in 09 in Detroit, you know, I think they would have beat the Celtics that day. They were kind of a super team. Duke's had 1 or 2 of those. But this year, I think a lot of people could say a lot of people could win a national championship. I think a lot of people could say a lot of people would get to a Final Four. And that's good and bad. You know, it's good for a lot of teams, but it makes it hard on everybody.
Tom, when you think of Julius, you know, you might think like toughness and size and rebounding and stuff, but scoring maybe a little further down that list. But the last couple games, he's given you guys quite a bit. What have you noticed from him there? It seems like he's displaying a lot of confidence offensively right now.
Well, Julius is a tough kid and a smart kid. Those are two good qualities to have. Plus, he has worked on his shooting. You know, the sad part is, he made those 2 big free throws late, but he missed 2. He was shooting 90% at one time. Missed one in the Illinois game that was costly, and he's worked on his 15, 16-foot shots. I mean, I think he's going to develop into, you know, I keep telling him, why not Xavier, you know? And he's got to rebound a little bit better, but he does post deep and post hard, so we can sometimes get him in. He's getting to the free throw line. So Julius has helped us. He does some things. He's, you know, consistent on some things. You know, not always big enough, but he's tough enough. And I would agree with you. You wouldn't have looked at him as an offensive player as much, and he's becoming that. He's got that nice little jump hook, gets to the free throw line, makes his free throws, and now he's got a 15-foot shot that he's making. So happy for Julius. Been you know, he's gone through a lot in his couple of years here with everything he's had to go through personally, and it's nice to see a guy like that have success, and especially when he's such a great student in a very tough curriculum. It's been harder for him than most.
When you see that piece coming around, does that speak to a greater confidence in just what he's doing these days, his role, his place and everything?
Yeah, I think he's in general just feeling more comfortable. I mean, his freshman year was a wash. He had went through a tragedy like most of us don't have to go through, and I was kind of checked out. I mean, a little bit, just trying to survive day to day, and as I can't imagine what it would be like, so I'm not going to try to. But sophomore year, you could see a little growth, and last summer he spent a lot more time on basketball, and I think he's, like some other guys I've had, he's starting to go from liking it to loving it, and if he gets to live in it, who knows?
Tom, Devontae Jones is a much different player than the guy you saw a while ago.
You know what, I don't know why I had so many things on my mind. I said Williams, I meant Jones when I said that, yes.
Devontae Jones, very different, and Tyson now has improved a lot, too, over that time. Does it take a little bit longer for portal point guards to really get it than other positions because of everything that's on their plate?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think quarterbacks are quarterbacks, no matter what sport it's in. And, I mean, the guy's been impressive. I mean, he gets 25 points yesterday. I want to say he was 7 for 7 from the line, hit a couple of threes. He hasn't been shooting the ball great, although like Tyson, where he came from, he was one of the better scorers in that league. And his rebounding has been off the charts. He's the second leading rebounder in that team in the last 5-6 games, and that's amazing, and at his size. But he seems like a strong, tough kid. He seems like he understands the game. I don't know him as well because he hasn't been in the league as long, but I have been really impressed with his knowledge. They got the ball in his hands a lot, and I would say yes. I think in general, quarterbacks just don't come and happen. They got to understand the system. They got to understand the league. They got to understand the other players, and maybe both of ours are starting to come around to that.
I'm wondering, usually at this time of the year, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for some of the seniors that kind of look at it and say this is the finality, but obviously the COVID situation and that is kind of maybe extended some of that. Are you noticing any challenges with that, with guys to maybe either see or kind of grasp that right now?
I think everybody in the world, not just athletes, not just players, you, me, everybody else, went through two of the most bizarre years that my 95-year-old mother never went through. So I think everybody's trying to find themselves and figure out, a lot of figuring out, what am I going to do when I'm done, am I really done? I mean, let's face it, all three guys could come back. I don't think that'll happen, but I don't know what'll happen. There'll be a lot of interesting conversations at the end of the year because these guys have been through so much. And even though we've pushed and beaten and yelled and screamed and hugged and kissed and done all the things that you really want us to do to your own sons, because it's been a traumatic 2 years. And I think everybody's in the same boat, I don't know if you look at it as light at the end of the tunnel, because that means you're done. And whenever you're done, that's not an easy time. Not an easy time as a coach. Somebody said, can you believe it's the end of the season? I said, no, but more importantly, I can't believe that Gabe will be done. I can't believe Marcus will be done, Joey, if he chooses to be done, that's more mind-boggling than just one season. That's a 4-year deal that seems to go by so quick, but it does. And so I don't know how people handle it. I'm trying to learn how to handle it myself because it's been different than other years. When there's definitive things in your life, you can prepare to handle them. When they're not definitive, am I done? Am I not done? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? It makes it more difficult. So that'll be some of the things we'll talk about on this trip. We'll just kind of try to get a feel for where everybody is, not whether the guy would come back or not come back, just how he feels, how fast it went. To me, I would think this went faster than ever. But then again, it could be longer than ever because of sitting in a room, sitting in an apartment, doing nothing, you know, all the things that these kids have gone through that most of you and me never went through. You know, I still say some of them barely been to classes in 2 years, you know, and that's sad. And some of them played, you know, I think our crowds are just getting better and better. Part of the reason is they weren't here for a year and then they had to redo and re-understand, and then the masks, and it's not as loud when the masks on, and the mask comes off. It's just we're almost learning how to walk again, you know, learning how to speak again. And I don't know, I know this is one thing I did learn during this pandemic. It does affect every person differently, and some can take it, some can't take it. And unfortunately, we have to keep pushing to get the best out of them, but done a lot more talking and trying to understand in the last 2 years than I have coaching. But I think every coach has probably been in the same boat, and I think you guys as parents be in the same boat too. You know, it's been an interesting time, and it makes me sad that I got a couple of guys that are seniors that have their last 2 years of college. You know, all they hear is stay in, don't get COVID, don't go out, don't go to class, don't meet anybody's. It's sad, but it's the same for everybody, so there's no excuses, it's just sad.
Speaking of Gabe, he walked in here after the game on Saturday with that typical Energizer Bunny-like attitude that we haven't seen in quite some time. So how do you hope that he bottles that up, as Jack likes to say, going forward for this week and for what's ahead? And just, I know some of that came from his shooting as well, confidence in that there.
You know what I told him, and this is weird, I think I told you this story after. I told him that day, part of my pregame speech is, Gabe, we're gonna put you on the best shooter and you're gonna guard him. And you're gonna have to guard him, it's gonna determine whether we win or lose, and I'm gonna put it right on your, you know, back. How's that? And I actually think he embraced that. And maybe because he was struggling shooting the ball, it gave him something to embrace. So I told him his defense helped his shooting more than his shooting helped his defense. And if you could look at that, the energy things you do, but Gabe is always energetic, you know. I was happiest for Gabe because through this whole thing, even his own shooting slump and some losses, every practice he came to practice. Every practice he came with some energy. I'll miss him in that respect, but I also, I'm gonna worry about missing him until he's gone. And so we still got some games left. Gabe's still an important part. He's gonna have to guard people and score points because that's what his job is, and keep the rest of us energized because I think that's what he enjoys. So, been interesting the way Gabe has, you know, come around, and you look at the last 2 years, and you really pull for your seniors to kind of finish off in the right way.
Tom, a couple minutes ago, you mentioned, so much this year has been mental, and we've talked about that a ton. We haven't talked as much about physical health and durability and everything. Fortunately, you've mentioned not a lot of injuries. Does this team feel pretty fresh? And when you've got 3 games in 6 days here, does that become a concern at all, just trying to manage that near the end of the season?
Well, it becomes a concern because you haven't had to do it much. Last year we did it, sorta. We played those games, but we were rattling so many people, and we had 3 point guards, we had 4 centers, and we were just playing them. And there was school to lay in bed and watch. There wasn't school to attend. So you just had different things you went through. And I say that I won't know that till the game goes on. We're pretty healthy. I don't see guys fatigued. I've done a better job than normal trying to have walkthroughs instead of full go practices. But we're going at it today, and then we're going to play tomorrow, and then we'll make some decisions on what we do on Wednesday and Thursday morning and then coming back, you know, but each time the game ends, then if you play better, you're gonna feel better, even if you're fatigued. And if you play worse, you're gonna feel worse, even if you're not fatigued. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. So I say let's play better, be fatigued, and not feel fatigued. That would be the way I look at it.
Anything else?
Starting lineups are ridiculously overrated in your sport, but you anticipate keeping with what you did the other day?
I do. I anticipate that. But I guess as I put on point on certain things in practice, things could change, but I don't see that. I see a rotation. I think, you know, maybe helped us in one way, maybe didn't in another way. I know this, I got 8 or 9 guys that gotta play, and I'm gonna use every one of them. So you're right, they're a little bit overrated. But, you know, ready to play. It's gonna be fun to go down there and see what we can do. I think that's the way everybody looks at games at this time of year.
Thanks, everyone.
What are you gonna do, Fred? No baseball?
Don't even get me started. The thing's not over yet. Don't even get me started. It's not over yet.
Think the whole season will be
I can't
out?
watch basketball.
Huh?
No, I don't think the whole season will last.
Yeah, right.
What do you think?
Gotta be-